What's good, everyone? Welcome to episode 1 of the podcast, Code Cracking Government Contracts. It's been a while coming, but we are finally here. I am your host, your friend, your colleague, Leroy Williams Jr., here to help you in your quest to crack the code of how to be of service to the public sector. What do I mean by the public sector? I mean the federal government, state governments, municipal governments, local boards of education, operators of toll-funded bridges and roads, airports, and even the organizations that provide water and process raw sewage. They all buy products and services from businesses like yours. Whether you have an existing business or are seeking to start a business, you have the ability to take advantage of thousands of opportunities that are out there all across the United States. It's just a matter of learning which of these entities are buying what you offer. To do such takes time. It takes diligence. It takes research. It takes getting out of your comfort zone and meeting new people. But in the end, these efforts can potentially bring value to your customers and bring success to you. Now, you might be wondering, who is this Leroy Williams Jr.? Glad you asked. First and foremost, Leroy is a child of the Most High God. Leroy is also a loving husband, father, son, brother, son-in-law, brother-in-law, and corny uncle. At least that's what my nephews tell me. Leroy is also a relative, a colleague, and a friend of hundreds of individuals scattered throughout these United States and worldwide. Leroy is a graduate of Pennsauken High School in Pennsauken, New Jersey. Leroy earned his bachelor's degree in journalism from the University of South Carolina, home to those ass-kicking chickens known as the Gamecocks. Leroy also earned his master's degree in information systems management from Walden University. Professionally, Leroy made his coins working as a reporter for newspapers located in 4 states between 1982 and 1998, covering mostly local government and politics, along with breaking news such as traffic crashes, fires, and homicides. Among the events he covered was the 1985 confrontation between the group MOVE and the city of Philadelphia, which resulted in the deaths of 11 MOVE members and the destruction by fire of more than 60 West Philadelphia row houses. Leroy also covered the aftermath of the 1992 protest uprising in Los Angeles after the acquittals of the police officers who were videotaped beating the late Rodney King. Leroy also wrote a column on the politics, planning, and everyday frustrations involving transportation. Or, put another way, how people move from point A to point B, be it via car, bus, truck, motorcycle, bicycle, or even on horseback. After a stint as an editor for a business-to-business newsletter company, Leroy transitioned in 2000 into the sales support role known as proposal coordinator at the New Jersey office of an environmental consulting and remediation company. He then moved to the Washington, D.C. area to further ply his trade at helping private sector firms sell to public sector entities, mainly the executive branch agencies of the United States government. After 17 years of developing proposals, Leroy decided he would do well to share his accumulated knowledge with others. Hence this podcast. We hope to drop a podcast to start at least once every 2 weeks. Let us now begin to crack that code, shall we? Let's talk about the federal government for a moment. There exist many tips for finding opportunities to contract with the federal government. But one of my favorite methods is to hone in on agencies that are not meeting their small business goals. Each year, the United States Small Business Administration negotiates formal goals with individual agencies to ensure that small businesses get their fair shares of federal contracts. However, for several consecutive years, many agencies have fallen short of their targets. So who made the grade and who didn't? The Federal Procurement Data System posts scorecards for each agency. Did you know that formal goals are in place to ensure that small businesses get their fair share of work with the federal government? In fact, each federal agency must set an annual goal for participation in its contracts by various groups. For example, here is a sampling of the statutory goals established by federal executive agencies. 23% of prime contract dollars must go to small businesses. 5% of prime and subcontracts dollars must go to women-owned small businesses. 5% of prime contracting and subcontracting dollars must go to small disadvantaged businesses. 3% of prime contracts and subcontracts must go to hub zone small businesses. And we'll talk about what hub zones are in a future podcast. 3% of prime and subcontracting dollars must go to service-disabled, veteran-owned small businesses. Now, how are agency goals negotiated and established? Well, the SBA is responsible for ensuring that the government-wide goal for participation of small business concerns is established annually at the statutory levels, and the reporting agencies' achievements are relative to the goals. Here's how the process works. The SBA negotiates with agencies to establish individual agency goals that, in the aggregate, constitute government-wide goals. In addition, the SBA also negotiates a small business subcontracting goal based on recent achievement levels. SBA establishes the government-wide and agency socioeconomic category goals at their statutory levels. Before the beginning of the fiscal year, SBA reviews agency year-to-date performance, and agencies submit their proposed goals to the SBA. Now, the SBA's Office of Contracting determines if these individual agency goals in the aggregate meet or exceed the government-wide statutorily mandated goals in each small business category. The SBA then notifies the agencies of their final agency goals. Could there be an opportunity here for your small business to lend its services and goods to help these agencies hit their targets next year? Well, guess what? I've gone through the agency scorecards for fiscal year 2016, which ended September 30th, 2016, and here's what I found. The Agency for International Development, which gave itself a grade of B, or has a grade of B, missed its goals for women-owned small businesses, service-disabled, veteran-owned small businesses, and hub-zone small businesses where it came to prime contracting. The Department of Energy, which historically, because of its structure, misses small business goals, has missed prime contracting goals for women-owned small businesses, disadvantaged businesses that are small, service-disabled, veteran-owned small businesses, and hub zones. But they have a grade of A. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration missed their prime contracting goals for women-owned small businesses, service-disabled, veteran-owned small businesses, and hub zones. The National Science Foundation missed their goals for prime contracting with women-owned small businesses, and hub zones. And then finally, the Department of Veterans Affairs missed their prime contracting goals for women-owned small businesses and hub zones. And you can see that they are circled in the video, in the charts I use in this video. So those are the agencies I would target if I owned a small business and were seeking a federal contract. I sincerely hope this helped. If you liked episode 1 of Code Cracking Government Contracts, please share this podcast. We also want your feedback. Please ask questions or let us know what topics relevant to government contracting you would like us to cover in future podcasts or videos. If you are watching episode 1 of Code Cracking Government Contracts on YouTube or a new platform called Minds, spelled M-I-N-D-S, please share the podcast video, subscribe to the channel you are watching, and please click the bell so that when I upload new podcast/video content, you will be notified. And in addition, if you like this episode 1 of Code Cracking Government Contracts, please donate to the podcast GoFundMe page at www.gofundme.com/code cracking so that we can use these resources to improve this podcast and associated videos going forward. Until next time, this is your host, Leroy Williams Jr. of Code Cracking Government Contracts, saying peace and God bless.